Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Day 2 of the biggest leak of information ever. So what does it mean for businesses and their reputations? Joe Lynham has news on that.
Yeah, good morning to you, Sarah. Yeah, serious questions are being asked about the murky world in which some potentates, companies and wealthy individuals inhabit. Last night we learned that the Panamanian legal firm Mossack Fonseca worked extensively with firms that were subject to international sanctions. The leak appears also to show that HSBC Bank provided financial services to Mossack. Barry Vitu is a lawyer with Pinsent Masons. You're head of corporate crime, Barry.
That's right. Thank you.
Good morning to you. What do you make of this whole leak, given the fact that it's a brethren lawyer?
A brethren lawyer. I think this is the new now. This is a massive data leak. There's a lot of talk about secrecy, but secrecy can no longer be guaranteed when these sorts of things are happening. I think this is the second time within a week that there's been a massive data leak along these lines.
And what does that say? Are you saying that the days of expecting and demanding secrecy from your lawyers are over?
I don't think that the days of demanding secrecy from your lawyer are over. It's a basic cornerstone and a founding principle of English law and law the world over. But I do think that the idea that things will be kept under wraps forever cannot be guaranteed when you have things like hacking going on and these massive data dumps happening.
Do you think the principle, though, of squirreling money into unnamed or numbered companies and bank accounts overseas is wrong for a lawyer to facilitate?
I think you need to draw a very big distinction between illegal conduct and perfectly legal conduct. It would be a massive oversimplification in a sort of global world with money flows happening internationally day in, day out, of which, for example, the City of London is a major financial hub. Mm-hmm. That's perfectly legitimate.
Yes, but I'm talking about the principle of aggressive tax evasion, avoidance. Obviously, evasion is illegal. If someone comes to a lawyer and they may be on a sanctions list, what should that lawyer do?
Well, I think if somebody is on a sanctions list, the answer should be pretty clear. You should be precluded.
But in this case, it's not been clear. Mossack basically accepted the business and opened an account for them.
Well, I think based on the stories that I've seen, I'm not sure that it's quite as crystal clear as that. I think you have a period of time over which rules perhaps change or due diligence is conducted. Perhaps the due diligence that was done was incomplete. Who knows? There seems to be, even on the story that has been printed, I noted that they withdrew acting for some of these companies long before this story broke.
But after a few years, when they were made aware that someone was on a sanctions list.
But my point is, if they weren't aware that they were on a sanctions list when they started, then they had no awareness of that. But I just would like to pick up this point about illegality and evasion and avoidance.
Evasion is illegal.
Evasion is illegal. Avoidance is not illegal. And if somebody has a problem with avoidance, i.e. a perfectly legitimate way of reducing their tax liability, for example, and ICE would be a very prosaic example of that, wouldn't it?
But obviously you're not comparing ISIS to having offshore accounts in Panama.
What I'm saying about tax evasion and tax avoidance is simply that one is illegal and one is not illegal. If you have a problem with avoidance, then it's for government to close down the loophole, if it exists, to make sure that it switches from being an avoidance scheme or plan to an evasion thing and illegal.
Okay, who should be lawyering up?
I think to make sure that people's rights are protected and they are not unfairly tarred with a brush with a claim that all secrecy is illegal, which it plainly is not, then I think, and a lawyer would say this, wouldn't he, that everybody should get lawyered up.
Yeah. If you are a client of Mossack or have worked with them in the past, you should be consulting somebody, I'm guessing.
I think you should be concerned. You went to a lawyer, you expected and you had a right to expect confidentiality, and it appears there has been a massive breach of that confidentiality with a huge loss of data.
Okay. Barry Vitu there from Pinsent Masons. Thanks for joining us.